What's up, everybody? Soren Baker here on Unique Access Entertainment. As always, please hit that subscribe button. As y'all know, it's right down there and it's free. And that enables us to keep coming to you guys as often as possible with as many interviews as possible. So please, please, please hit that subscribe button, like our content, share about it, talk about it, be about it, each one, teach one. And we appreciate you guys' support, helping us get to this level. Now, today, we have the honor and the privilege of being joined by somebody I've been wanting to talk to for many moons. Super Lover C, thank you for coming through, sir.
Man, I appreciate you having me here, man. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this. So for those that know, Super Lover C and Casanova Rudd was a great duo that came out in the 80s. And we're going to get through, talk about a lot of that stuff. So I first heard you guys from Do the James, the 12-inch, when it was on Citi-Beat Records. So before we get to that, I wanted to know, how did you guys meet up? What's your relationship? Did you know each other a long time? All that, the Genesis stuff.
The Genesis stuff. Okay. Yeah. So me and Casanova Rudd grew up in the same housing projects in Queens, in Astoria housing, in Long Island City, Queens. We were good friends. We played sports together and everything, you know. We used to go out to the parks and to the jams with the Disco Twins and Disco Brothers and things like that. And, you know, we watched how that whole operation worked. And, you know, I always thought that I was a good rapper and, you know, decided to get into it. Never really had my opportunity. And Rudd never really had that opportunity to DJ in the parks, in the projects with, you know, the local DJs and rappers. But we did break into breakdancing. So that's how we pretty much started. We started breakdancing first. Of course, with breakdancing came along, you know, it came with accompanied with hip hop, you know, the music itself. So that's how we end up learning hip hop and all the players and rappers. And, you know, we moved from the dancing into the music. I remember one, I believe it was a Christmas, Casanova Rudd ended up getting a DJ set. And we were like, wow. So that's how we actually broke into it, you know. Rudd got his set. Next thing you know, we got a mic, you know, Rudd DJ. I was a rapper, but it wasn't actually just me and Rudd. It was actually four of us. We used to go by the name The Future Four.
And what year was this approximately?
This was maybe 84, 85. This is like out of high school.
Oh, wow. Well, it's funny because in the Girls I Got Unlocked video, I remember you guys dancing a little bit in there. So I was like, oh, they could get down.
Yeah. So we, you know, we had a little bit of a dancing career, or a start dancing. I wouldn't say it was a career, but it was a start in dancing first. You know, and I mean, we used to practice in the lobby, in the hallway. We used to bring linoleum down, everything. I mean, we did the whole deal. I'm just thinking about those things that we did. But from there we moved on with Rudd and his set, and we took it from there. Started writing some lyrics, started getting things going, and I created this interesting style. And I want to go back a little bit, because I know I said that we started right, like outside of high school, but actually that's incorrect. I remember actually, while I was in high school, banging on the tables, you know, rapping with the locals in school, you know. So it goes that far back to high school.
So what happened to where you guys went from a quartet to a duo? What happened?
Well, the other guys kind of didn't work. You know, we didn't see where it worked. As far as being together all the time, myself and Rudd, we were best friends. So with that being said, you know, we hung out every day. The other two gentlemen, they weren't really, you know, they were friends of ours and local friends and acquaintances in our housing project, but we didn't hang out. We had two different groups of people we hung out with, if that makes sense. So eventually, I joined a couple of contests at the roller skating ring. This was the USA Scope roller skating ring. This was in Roosevelt, Queens, and took a shot at it. And when I tell you this, it's funny because, you know, just me and maybe a couple of guys, and we would go in that place, and the place was packed with Brooklyn and other portions of Queens. And, you know, I was this little quiet guy, and I stayed in the corner until it was my turn to get up there and do what I needed to do. So went through a couple of competitions. I mean, you know, with some of the greats like Kwame, you know, Master Ace, you know, we all were in that same competition. And I remember winning third place, my first opportunity, second place the second time, and then eventually first place. And also was I must include DJ Scratch, and I'm gonna tell you why. DJ Scratch actually toured with me with the United Skates of America because they were a franchise. And we actually, because Scratch won the DJ competition and I won the hip hop competition or the rap competition, they put us both together and we toured.
Wow.
It was amazing. Yeah. Yeah. So that's a story a lot of people don't know.
Well, I've had the fortunate interview and talking to him, but more importantly, in a way, I've had the benefit of seeing him in his prime, DJing for like EPMD and stuff several years after what you're referring to. So
Yes.
when you saw Scratch early on, could you tell like the difference, or what did you see about him that was so remarkable, like 5 to 10 years before he like got super big?
Scratch, I mean, even to today, when I watch Scratch today, it was almost like the first day I saw him. Scratch was amazing from day one. I've never seen anybody do what Scratch was doing. I mean, you know, when I've seen DJs DJ, Scratch was something different, you know, and still to today, you know, it's always entertainment watching him do what he do, you know. Yeah, so he even I even had the opportunity, or myself and Rudd had the opportunity for Scratch to DJ for us at Latin Quarters.
Oh, wow.
One of our I think it was our first performance at Latin Quarters, because Latin Quarters didn't have a DJ set on stage, so you had to do your work from a booth. And what ended up happening was, well, Rudd was part of the dance routine, so how do we work that out, right? So what we did was we asked Scratch, hey, Scratch, you know, take care of that for us. He was like, man, I got you, you know. So he did his thing, and me, Rudd, and our dancers, we did our performance at Latin Quarters. Man, it was amazing.
Now, was that T-Spunk even back then too?
T-Spunk back then, yeah, that was T-Spunk. That was our dancer. That boy was bad too.
I remember that. He definitely was doing it in the video. But so as you go from this era with the competition and the skate stuff and all this different things, did that lead to Citi-Beat hearing about you, or how did you guys get with Citi-Beat to do the James?
Okay, so at the United States competition, there was a grand finale. And that grand finale, this is when they asked DNA from the DNA Hank Love radio show, and it was three of them, you know, Hank Love, DNA, and Half Pint. They were judges. And I believe there was another judge, I'm not sure. But what happened there at that particular competition was for a deal with Marley Marl.
And that's the one
So,
that Ace won?
That's the one that Master Ace won. Now, could you imagine? I would have been a part of the Juice Crew, right?
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So, but that's what I was hoping for, but it didn't happen. Then after that competition, and it was close. It was a close competition. Brooklyn was in the house. Master Ace was from Brooklyn. It went the way it went, but I'm not mad at it. You know, I've proved my point a couple of times, and like I said, I was a little mousy guy from Queens, and I came in there and took a lot of those crowds. So it is what it is. DNA walks up to me after the competition was over and after Master Ace had won and says, I think you guys have something and you're very talented. And I think we had a little help from Jerry Waterman too, who was the owner of the franchise. who really believed in us, by the way, and put the plug in DNA's ears, like, you know, somebody better snatch these kids up because they're great, you know. And I remember DNA telling me that years later. And DNA walked up and gave me his card and says, you know, if you want to talk some business, here's my card. And that was it. You know, he says, if you're interested in making some records, let me know. It's okay. I took the card, you know, walked away. I was like super excited, but I was cool when I was with DNA until I walked away. I was like, oh my God, you know what I mean? So that's how that ended up happening. That's how we ended up getting a deal and recording records with Citi-Beat Records, which was under DNA.
Okay, so then did they put you with Paul C, or did you guys organically meet? How did that work?
Okay, so Paul C. So one of the guys from the Future Four actually worked in the studio alongside Paul C. So we didn't know about, you know, 1212 was in Jamaica, Queens. I lived in Astoria, different sides of the town in Queens, two different sides of town. And what ended up happening was, I think he mentioned to Rudd that he recorded out of a studio. I love telling this story. So Rudd actually went into the studio and recorded with Paul C prior to me even meeting him. And we worked together a lot, but of course we didn't have the quality of a, you know, professional studio. So Rudd brings this amazing track back, and I'm like, oh my God, you know, where'd you do this at? And everybody's talking about Rudd and, you know, how he's got this excellent track. And I was like, man, you know, that's my boy. I'm the rapper, you know? So I ended up asking him, you know, where'd you get it done? He told me where he got it done. And I remember at the time I was working for McDonald's, by the way. I was like, how much was it? He's like, $25 an hour, $25 an hour. I'm looking at my check and I go, all right, you know, take this $25 and I'm going to go up there and I'm going to record a record. Took me 3 months to write Do the James. 3 months. And here's another piece of a story that I always tell about that, is that what didn't make Do the James made other tracks like Super Casanova or Girls I Got 'Em Locked. And I Got a Good Thing. So a lot of stuff, you know, were written in these books. And if I didn't like it for Do the James, it didn't make sense, which wasn't part of the flow, I just kept going until I, you know, made that song perfect. 3 months later, I go to 1212 Studio. I finally meet Paul C, and we worked on this track. You know, Paul loved it. So when I tell you I spent $25, I spent $25. Right. That's all I had to go in with, you know. But Paul believed in it, you know. And you know, so he let us, you know, slide a little bit, you know, as far as getting it done, because he said it was a great track. We pretty much produced this thing. We brought it in. Paul chopped it up, did everything that, you know, because I had the whole thing in my head, you know, exactly how it needed to go. And Paul helped put it together, and there you go. That's how Do the James came about. And that's how I ended up, you know, that's how I met Paul C.
Well, it's that's awesome. And it's funny you say that about writing and how some of the stuff didn't make it, because when fast forward to Girls I Got 'Em Locked, the album, because remember on Do the James, you're like, Calente is my name and I seldom tell it, but then you mention it on the album a few times. So I was always like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Here he says he never says it, and then on the album he's saying it like again and again and again. Right. So is that part of that same process that was going on?
It was strategic. So okay. If you listen to, like, say, Girls I Got 'Em Locked, you know, the intro will tell you, you know, we already said, you know, they claim Super Ruck could rock without doing the James Brown, you know what I'm saying? So the word on the street was, oh, hot record, but it's a one-hit wonder. They're never going to come back with a second record. We come back with Super Casanova. Okay, hot record. Nah, they're not going to be around. You know what I mean? Then we come back out with Girls, I Got Them Locked, and that was it, that's how we sold everybody. Like, these guys got it. But the record itself, some of it, a lot of it was new, but a lot of it was some things that were written for Do the James.
Okay. And that leads me, well, I also thought it was interesting too, how clearly several years before the Wu-Tang, you referenced the Shaolin Temple early on. Cause I remember like, wait, this is the same reference these guys made their whole style off of, which I always thought was interesting that you had referenced it back in '87.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
It would be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
What's that 5 on your MTV back with NWA?
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.